Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to India.
Oh, sounds interesting.
Yeah, there's this place called Vantara. You actually sent us an article about it.
Ah, yes, from the Times of India.
That's the one. Vantara is getting a lot of buzz as the world's largest wildlife rescue and rehabilitation center.
Huge undertaking.
It is. And even Sadhguru visited recently and was seriously impressed, calling it, get this, a visionary approach to life.
Well, that definitely sets the bar high.
Right. So we have to find out what's going on over there. Expert speaker, what can you tell us about Vantara? What makes it so unique?
So first off, the scale of this project is just massive.
I was looking at some pictures online. It's sprawling.
Exactly. Vantara is located in Jamnagar, Gujarat,
Okay.
and it's the brainchild of Anant Ambani.
Oh, wow. That Ambani family.
Yeah, so we're talking about a huge commitment of resources here. But it's not just about size. Vantara seems to be really pushing the boundaries of what a wildlife sanctuary can be, moving beyond those traditional models and embracing a more, I guess you could say, holistic approach.
I like that. The article called it a pioneering initiative and an extreme display of compassion and care.
Yeah, those are some strong words.
What does that actually look like in practice?
Well, from what I gathered, Vantara isn't just a place where animals are, kept.
Right.
It's designed to be a true haven, a place where they can heal and hopefully eventually be reintroduced to the wild.
The article did use the phrase safe haven, and to be honest, I immediately pictured like something super high-tech and advanced.
Oh, high tech is definitely part of it,
I bet.
especially when you consider the specialized care they provide for, like a really diverse range of species.
Yeah, we're not talking about just a few lions and tigers here.
No, not at all. Vantara houses a wide variety of animals, and each one comes with its own very specific needs. But beyond the technology, it seems like there's a real emphasis on creating a natural environment for these animals.
I see.
They chose a location surrounded by, the article says, the sprawling Jamnagar greens.
Oh, that sounds pretty idyllic.
Yeah, so it sounds like they're trying to replicate natural habitats as much as possible.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So you've got this massive facility, cutting-edge tech, diverse species, a focus on natural habitats. It's starting to sound less like a zoo and more like, I don't know, an animal utopia.
Maybe utopia is a bit of a stretch,
Yeah, fair enough.
but it's definitely an ambitious undertaking, that's for sure.
Ambitious is a good word for it.
I think that's probably what caught Sadhguru's attention, though.
Yeah.
He's not just talking about the physical aspects of Vantara.
Right.
He's praising their, and I'm quoting here, deep understanding of the inclusive nature of existence.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it seems they're operating from a philosophy that recognizes the interconnectedness of all life, which is a pretty powerful concept when you really think about it.
It is. It's not just about rescuing animals. It's about acknowledging our role in the ecosystem.
That's a great way to put it.
And, well, our responsibility to protect it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that seems to be reflected in everything they do, from the way they care for the animals to the educational programs they offer.
Oh, they have educational programs.
It seems so.
Hmm.
Vantara is trying to create a space where, well, where humans can actually connect with nature
I see.
in a meaningful way
Mm.
and hopefully leave with a greater appreciation for, well, for the delicate balance of our world.
This is already blowing my mind. We've only just started talking about it.
Just wait, there's more.
I'm dying to know more about how Vantara actually works.
We'll get to that.
Okay, good.
Hmm.
Like, what kind of animals do they have? What are the challenges they face? How do they manage to cater to so many different species?
All great questions. We'll delve into those for sure.
Okay, good.
But before we get ahead of ourselves, I'm curious to know what's resonating with you so far. What's caught your attention?
Honestly, it's that idea of interconnectedness that Sadhguru highlighted. It's always been something I've been drawn to, but seeing it actually put into practice on such a huge scale is truly inspiring.
I can understand that.
It makes me wonder, like, what could we accomplish if we applied that same philosophy to, well, other areas of our lives?
That's a profound thought.
Yeah.
And it's definitely something we can explore further as we dive deeper into the specifics of Vantara.
Okay.
But for now, let's shift gears and take a closer look at, well, the animals themselves.
Sounds good to me. I'm ready to meet some of the residents of this amazing place.
Let's do it.
So we know that Vantara is home to a ton of different species, but what does that actually look like? Are we talking about your typical zoo animals, or is it more, exotic?
Oh, it's way more diverse than your average zoo, that's for sure. The article mentions specialized care, and that makes me think they're dealing with some really unique cases.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Like, imagine the expertise you would need to rehabilitate, say, a rescued pangolin.
Pangolin.
Yeah, or a whole flock of flamingos.
Wow, that's a good point.
Each animal, they come with their own set of challenges, right?
Definitely.
And you need to really understand, like, their biology and their behavior to do this right.
It's incredible. It's almost like I'm picturing a team of experts, like animal detectives, basically.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that.
Figuring out the best way to care for each creature.
Yeah, exactly. And don't forget, it's not just about providing medical care.
Right.
They're also trying to, like, perfectly replicate natural habitats as much as they can.
Which has got to be super tough, right?
Oh, it must be a logistical nightmare, especially when you're dealing with so many different types of animals.
Yeah, for sure. Think about, like, the difference between the habitat needs of a Bengal tiger
Right.
and then a rescued sea turtle. I mean, come on, that's crazy.
It really is mind-boggling when you think about it.
It is. So much goes into this.
It does.
Like, it's one thing to build an enclosure, but to actually create a space that's, like, truly mimics their natural environment
Yeah.
on this scale,
Yeah.
it's got to be a constant process of, like, adapting and innovating.
Totally. Absolutely. And it's not even just about the animals themselves.
Oh, right. What else?
They have to think about, well, predator-prey dynamics,
Uh-huh.
making sure each animal has enough space and resources, and just minimizing stress while also maximizing their well-being. It's a delicate balancing act for sure.
It really is. When you lay it all out like that, it makes you realize how much thought and care goes into every little detail of this place.
It does.
It's not just a place where animals are, kept. It's like a living, breathing ecosystem.
It is, yeah.
It's constantly changing.
And that brings us right back to Sadhguru's point about how interconnected everything is.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Vantara isn't just about, like, protecting animals.
Yeah.
It's about understanding all those complex relationships that exist in nature.
I see what you mean.
And our place, within that web.
Yeah. It's almost like they're creating this, like, microcosm of the natural world, a place where people can actually see these interactions and learn from them.
Exactly.
Right.
And by actually studying those interactions, we can gain some really valuable insights
I bet.
into how we can better coexist with wildlife in the real world.
That makes sense.
Vantara could be like a hub for research and education.
Oh, yeah.
Not just for scientists and, conservationists,
Right.
but for the public too.
Imagine that. Like, every visitor comes and then leaves understanding the balance of nature a little bit better.
Exactly.
And their role in protecting it. It's a pretty powerful idea when you think about it. But let's be real for a second, though. There have to be some pretty big challenges involved with something this big.
Of course, of course.
Really?
No project is perfect, right?
Right. Yeah.
Especially one as ambitious as this.
Mhm.
One thing that worries me is, making sure Vantara stays accessible to everybody.
Yeah, I can see that.
With all these resources and all this expertise, it could easily become a very exclusive destination.
Like, only for the wealthy.
Exactly, yeah. And that would just undermine the whole mission of promoting awareness and education, right?
Totally. It would be a shame if it became like another luxury attraction
Yeah,
instead of a place where everybody can actually connect with nature and learn about conservation.
exactly. Another challenge they'll face is, well, finding that balance between conservation and tourism.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
It is. Because it's great to encourage people to visit,
For sure.
but you also have to make sure that all those visitors aren't negatively impacting the animals or their environment.
Right. That's a tough line to walk.
It is.
You want people to see how amazing this place is, but you don't want to overwhelm the very ecosystem that you're trying to protect.
Exactly. It takes a lot of careful planning,
Yeah.
and responsible tourism practices, constant monitoring to make sure that Vantara is truly like a sustainable initiative.
Right.
It's a complex equation. A
Yeah.
lot of moving parts.
It is. And speaking of moving parts, I'm kind of curious about the day-to-day operations at Vantara. Like, how do they manage to care for so many different animals, each with their own, like, super specific needs?
Oh, that's a good question.
Do they have separate teams for each species or what?
Well, I imagine they probably have a staff with all sorts of different backgrounds,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
veterinarians, animal behaviorists, nutritionists, probably even experts in specific species, yeah.
Wow.
It would take a village to run a place like this.
I bet.
It would.
And what about the animals? Like, how do they adjust to this new life at Vantara?
Right.
Do they show any signs of stress? Do they still do all their natural behaviors even though they're, well, not in the wild?
That's a great question.
It is, isn't it?
And it kind of just highlights how important it is to create environments that really do mimic their natural habitat,
Yeah,
If the animals are comfortable and secure, they're going to be much more likely to thrive.
makes sense.
But it's more than just the physical space, though. They also need to be able to do all the things they would do in the wild, like foraging, hunting,
Right.
in a safe environment, of course,
Right.
and socializing with their own species, too.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. So it seems like Vantara is really walking this tightrope,
Yeah.
right? Trying to balance the needs of these animals and then also trying to educate the public, inspire people.
It is tough balance, but I think they're doing a great job so far. Their heart seems to be in the right place, that's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. They seem very committed to creating this model for coexistence.
Yeah, definitely.
One that, actually benefits humans and wildlife.
Absolutely.
And that actually brings us back to you listening.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
What are your thoughts on all of this?
Like, does Vantara spark any new ideas for you? New perspectives?
Has this whole deep dive, has it changed the way you think about, our relationship with nature?
I know it has for me.
It's a good reminder that conservation isn't just about protecting animals, keeping them separate from us. It's about realizing we're all connected.
We are.
We're part of this huge web of life, and what we do affects everything else.
And that realization can be pretty empowering, actually. It means that even small changes we make can have a big impact, a positive impact.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not about feeling overwhelmed. It's about doing what we can.
Exactly.
Finding ways to be part of the solution.
Whether that's supporting incredible organizations like Vantara or just making better choices in our everyday lives.
Exactly. What if, instead of saving animals, we focused on coexisting with them?
I like that.
Coexisting.
It implies a more balanced relationship, more respectful,
Yeah.
where we recognize that all living beings have value, intrinsic value.
And it's a relationship that requires us to keep learning.
It does.
Yeah.
We have to keep learning and keep adapting.
We can't just assume we know what's best for nature. We have to be open to new ideas, new approaches, just like the team at Vantara.
Right, exactly.
There's so much we can learn from the natural world.
There is.
We just have to be willing to listen.
That's it. And it seems like Vantara is creating a space for those conversations to happen.
Yeah.
A space where people can really connect with nature on a deeper level.
Yeah. And maybe, just maybe, start to see themselves as part of the solution, not the problem.
That's the goal.
It's a beautiful vision.
It is.
And one that we really hope resonates with you.
We do. And hey, who knows?
What?
Maybe someday we'll all be able to go see Vantara for ourselves.
That would be amazing.
It would.
Until then, we'll keep diving deeper into the stories that matter, exploring the ideas that, shape our world.
We will.
Thanks for joining us.